Jesse Allen here for the American Ag Network. We are talking with Jay Debberton, the president and CEO of CHS Inc. Jay, how are you today?
I'm well, Jesse. Happy to be with you.
Hey, Jay, I appreciate you joining us here today, sir, as we have some strong numbers to talk about. CHS released their quarter three financials here this past week, and looking at the third quarter net income and just a lot of good numbers here. For starters, why don't you just walk us through some of the big key highlights that we saw with the release of CHS's numbers?
You're right, Jesse. It was a very strong quarter. CHS is reporting earnings of $273 million for just the quarter. Very, very strong third quarter results. Our strongest since I think 2014 for the quarter. And it came all the way across CHS. I think first and foremost, CHS and the local cooperatives who own CHS were really, really well positioned to supply and serve the people who own us during what was a very strong spring season. So when we look at our fertilizer, our agronomy products, really, really set up well to serve the people that own us. But in addition, we just saw a strong performance all the way across CHS. Our grain marketing areas really were positioned extremely, extremely well to take advantage of strong demands around the world for the products that the farmers and ranchers that own us produce. And local cooperatives and us were set up in good places to serve those demands around the world. Our export facilities operated extremely efficiently and extremely strong. And then I think third, Jesse, I'd say our energy platform, which frankly really received the brunt of the COVID and pandemic impacts, just because the energy demands all the way across the globe were greatly affected. And CHS, participates in those global markets around energy. So we had our own share of that impact. And what we have seen in our third quarter and going forward, we just see that business steadily improving and getting back to kind of the results that we had. We're not there yet, but we just saw a really nice improvement in our third quarter in our energy platform as well.
Well, Jay, what can you maybe attribute some of the strength to? You mentioned COVID a little bit, and obviously the farm economy. We've been doing our best to kind of ramp back up. We've seen profitability with commodity prices here the last few months. We talk about just the overall farm economy starting to kind of revive itself with all of that income. I mean, can you attribute some of CHS's strength to some of that, or maybe you can explain and expand upon that thought a little bit?
Absolutely. I think we can attribute some of it to that because we are a participant in those markets. And what we've seen is really some of those price impacts and price lifts have been driven by global demands that have been extremely strong. But at the same time, you have to be positioned well with the right assets and the right capabilities to capitalize on that when those markets are open, and we did. So I think prices were one piece of it, but also our ability to perform at a really, really high level for what was frankly some record demands that we exported off of the Pacific Northwest that we were really set up well. We'd also have to say, though, that what is also going into some of these pricing impacts are some weather conditions across our trade territories, and many times that the two go together. Higher prices sometimes are driven by supply issues that the market is seeing. But I would say in this particular area, we are also impacted by just really strong global demands, and they've been in place now for since earlier this calendar year, and we've just been set up well to participate in and capitalize on that.
Well, and I would have to think as well, you look at the strong third quarter numbers, and I would assume CHS, continue to position yourselves on the global scale and looking at different things to continue to grow and have strong numbers for the fourth quarter and beyond, right, Jay?
Well, we hope so. I mean, in our business, we don't get too far ahead of ourselves. We got a crop to finish off, and there's areas that have some challenges around that. but we're set up well. We think those global demands will be there again. So we feel really, really optimistic for the benefits that we think the U.S. farmer will get their share of. Again, we have a crop to finish off, and there's certain areas that are feeling the drought conditions a lot. So to do that, though, we are investing in our capabilities around the world, and we've announced investment and expansions at our export facilities, at our processing facilities, and frankly in our energy platform as well, just to become more and more efficient in these areas. So it's being done to really connect the farmers that own us with customers around the world, and to help them grow these products.
Well, and of course, you mentioned energy, ag, and I know some of the other investments and focus areas. CHS has quite a few great things going for it right now, Jay. And I look as well. Things like edible oils. We didn't really touch on that, but that's been a hot market right now. And I know the company's investment in Ventura Foods, that was a big part of the third quarter fiscals as well.
It was, Jesse. So we participate in the food platform and the crushing business, and delivering the added benefit from soybean crushing and canola crushing to the benefit of the people that own us. And that business had its own impact from the pandemic as people stayed home and food service was weak, and restaurants shut down. We felt our impacts from that, and much of that now is coming back. And in addition, we've got just some new dynamics going on there. Things like renewable diesel, which is putting additional demands on soybean oil. And so again, you're seeing just really strong demands in these markets, and we are leaning in with both shoulders to take advantage of that where those markets are for the benefit of the people that own us.
Well, Jay, a lot of great thoughts here and insight into these strong numbers for the third quarter fiscal year for CHS. Any other final thoughts you have for us today, or anything you want to reiterate to our listeners?
Yeah, I think one thing I would offer up is, so I spoke about investments we're making in our facilities to be there for the people that own us. In addition, just this week, the board of directors of CHS also announced an additional $50 million of cash returns to the people that own us, the producers and local cooperatives that own us, based on the fact that we just had a really strong quarter, and we see our business steadily returning to the kind of levels we know we can perform at. And so the board looked at those results and announced another $50 million that will be sent out, and that will be sent out before the end of August.
Well, that's fantastic stuff. With that, President and CEO of CHS Inc., Jay Deberton, appreciate the time today. Thanks for joining us on the American Ag Network.
Happy to be with you. Thank you for the opportunity.